Hi everybody, I'm Axelsims, and this is CreepyPasta time, because why the fuck not? This actually was by a request. Let me just look up here. Get his name up, because I don't actually know what to say. It's, sorry about the wait. C9875. He requested that I do this. It's called Sonic.exe. Now, it's a creepypasta involving Sonic, obviously, and the Hedgehog. For those of you who've never heard of Sonic, which is kind of hard to believe, honestly, seeing as how so many people have been playing Sonic and so many people play Mario, and, you know, they're both kind of gotten old with the age and kind of repetitive. It's, you know, Sonic's definitely taken a turn for the worse, but Mario still can be played, I suppose, but I don't know about Sonic. I heard that Generations was okay, but that's not the point. I grew up with Mario, and I never really found, I really couldn't find anything Mario horrifying, and I really can't find anything in Sonic horrifying, so granted, I haven't really gotten into the Sonic series, so I have no idea about the general plot for most of it. All I know is there's a blue hedgehog that can talk and runs really fast and he hunts dogs, and he can run really fast, and the evil guy is generally a big fat man with a huge mustache that says penis, but at the same time, ends up helping him sometimes, and he captures animals and uses them to drive his machines and stuff. Pardon me. I have allergies, so my things might not sound the best right now. But anyway, so this is, like I said already 2 times, Sonic.exe. Let's read. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played glitchy or hacked games before, though I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you could get to explore the towns in it, until I noticed, out of my peripheral vision, that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox as usual and left. I paused my game to go and see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for computers and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note first and realized it was from my dear friend Kyle. Let's just call him that. Whom I haven't heard from in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting, though what was weird was how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was trying to have a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy the CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc and you'll destroy him. But do it, quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please. Kyle. Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it was a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that. Anyway, I looked at the disc, and it looks like an ordinary computer CD-R disc, except it had black marker on it written, Sonic.exe, and it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from someone else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I was usually excited and wanted to play it, since I'm a Sonic fan. I went up to my room, and turned on my computer, and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was from the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome, because, like I said earlier, I enjoyed the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of place when I pressed start There was a split second where I saw the title image turned into something much different, something that I now consider horrifying before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut into black. The sky had darkened, the title emblem was rusted and ruined, and the Sega 1991 title was now instead Sega 666, and the water had turned red, like blood, except it looked hyper-realistic. But the most freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding like two glowing red dots staring right at me. And his smile had stretched wider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about the image when I saw it, thinking, though I figured it was just a glitch, and forgot about it. After it cut to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so, and then another weird thing happened. The save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, what the fuck? What's this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something else off. The background was a dark, cloudy sky of the bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD, and there were only 3 save files. The music was that creepy Caverns of Winter music from Earthbound, only it was extended and seemed to have been in reverse. And the image for the save file, where you saw a preview of the level you're on, is just red static for all 3 files. What weirded me out more was the character selection. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and, to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now I was sure that something was up. I mean, how could you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? That's when I realized this wasn't just a glitchy game, it was a hacked game. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was really creepy, but as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared. I told myself it was just a hacked game and there was nothing wrong with that. Anyway, shaking off that creeped out feeling, I picked Save File 1, chose Tails, and when I selected and got started, the game froze for about 5 seconds, and I heard a creepy pixelated laugh that will sound an awful lot like that Kefka guy from Final Fantasy before cutting to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more, and then it showed the typical level title thing, except the simplistic shapes were different shades of red, and the text showed only Hill Act 1. The screen faded in, and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the green hill zone from Sonic 1. The music was different, though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing, and had Tails start running like you would in any of the classic Sonic games. What was odd was that Tails was running along the level, but there was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. That was when the peaceful music started to lower down into slow, deep tones very slowly as I kept going. I suddenly saw something and I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the ground, bleeding. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face that I had never saw on him before, so I had him move along, and he kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried as the music lowers, and he moves past more dead animals. I was shocked to see how they all died. They looked like someone killed them in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hanged on a tree, with what appeared to be his entrails hanging out. A bunny had all 4 of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds, there were no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. After a minute passed after the music stopped, Tails was running up a hill, and then he stopped. It wasn't until I saw why. Sonic was on the other end of the screen with his back against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails seemed happy to see Sonic, but his smile faltered, obviously noticing that Sonic wasn't responding to him, if not acting as if he was totally oblivious to his presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't even moving my keyboard to make him move, so this had to have been a cutscene. Suddenly I began to feel a growing feel of dread as Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention. I felt that Tails was in danger and something bad was going to happen. I heard faint static growing louder as Tails was but inches from Sonic and stopped and stuck his hand out to touch him. That foreboding feeling was in my gut. and it was moving stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open as if they were black with those red glowing dots, just like the title image, though there wasn't a smile. When that happened, the screen turned back, and the static sound was off. It stayed black for about 7 seconds, and then white text appeared, forming a message saying, "Hello, do you want to play with me?" At this point, I was creeped out. I didn't want to continue the game, but my curiosity got the better of me when I was taken to a different level, with the level title now saying Hide and Seek. This time I was in Angel Island level from Sonic 3, and it looked like everything else was on fire. Tails looked as though he was scared out of his wits this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me as if he wanted to get out of the area as fast as possible. I started to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get him out of there. So I pressed down on the arrow key as fast as I could, or hard as I could, and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow at the Ark as Robotnik in SA2, Shadow or Sonic Adventure 2, was playing as I made Tails trek through the desolate forest, trying to make him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly I heard that creepy laugh again, that awful Kefka laugh. Right after 10 seconds have passed as I helped Tails run through the forest, and then I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping everywhere on the screen, again with those black and fiery red eyes. The music changed to that suspenseful drowning jingle as I saw Sonic behind Tails slowly gaining up on him, flying. He wasn't running, he was actually flying. The flying pose his sprite was making looked very similar to Metal Sonic's flying pose in Sonic CD, except it was just Sonic and he had those black and red eyes again, only this time he had the most deranged looking grin on his face. He looked as though he was enjoying the torment he was giving the poor little fox as he gained up on them. Suddenly, when Tails tripped, the music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails laid there and started crying for about 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kinda teared up myself, not teared. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails, and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down those blackened eyes of Sonic as a grin slowly grew on his face and looked down at the horrified fox. I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, God, the spelling errors. Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen cut to black, and there was a loud screeching noise that only lasted about 5 seconds. The text returned, only this time it said, "You're too slow. Want to try again?" And then that god-awful laugh came with it. I was so shocked by what had happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails were supposed to be best friends, right? Why would Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off as I was brought back to the character select. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box, but instead the TV screen itself, which was flickering with that red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding. His orange fur had gone black, and he had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. The laugh came again, and the screen cut into black again and stayed there for about 10 seconds. This time the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out now. I couldn't really tell if this was a glitch or a hack or some kind of sick, twisted joke or anything, really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The next level looked much different. It had the ground of the Scrambled Brain Zone, but the sky background looked like the main menu. It was dark, reddish, cloudy sky, but it was the music that creeped me out the most. It sounded like Gygas's theme right after you beat Pokey in Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid, just as Tails did, though not as much. More like he looked a little unnerved. He broke the fourth wall and looked as if he wasn't sure what's going on, but I made him move anyway. He ran down the straight pathway in this dark level, and as he did, the screen started to flicker red static a couple of times, and then that maddening laugh came again. Then, after a few seconds of running, I noticed several bloodstains on the metallic ground. I felt a growing sense of fear again, though thought something horrible was going to happen to Knuckles. He looked nauseated running down this bloodstained road, but I kept going. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him with those black and red eyes, and that red static appeared again, and the static vanished, showing nothing but black screen with text saying, "Found you." I said it like that because it has F-O-N capitalized and Y-O-U-O capitalized, so it was like, found you. Anyway, I was now more scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What was going on? Anyway, red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time, that high-pitched squealing from the Silent Hill's final boss was playing. Was this some kind of boss battle? I hope to God it wasn't, honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and tried to punch him, but Sonic vanished before I could even land a hit. That terrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again, and then I made him punch again, and Sonic vanished again, laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and I felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was actually playing with us. He was playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Now the cutscene played as Knuckled fell to his fell to his knees and clutched his head, sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was actually driving us both crazy. And then in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles, and the screen went black with another discordant screeching noise that lasted for at least 3 seconds. Another text appeared. So many souls to play with, so little time. Would you agree? What the hell? Just what's going on? I started to think Sonic was actually trying to talk me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time the second file box had Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray. His dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too, and he had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those were actual characters trapped in those TV screens on the save files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and I took a break. I took a nap. Wish I hadn't, because I started to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in pitch black darkness, though I was under the light giving off by a lamp that was hung high above my head, and I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tail nearby. They were saying stuff like, "Help us," and "Why did you give us to him?" and "Run away before he gets you too." Their cries died out as I heard Sonic laugh. It sounded a lot like a distorted Tefka laugh. You're a lot of fun to play with, kid, just like your friends. Kenny? Kyle. There we go. Just like your friend. Kyle. Though he didn't last long. I was scared and looking around the source of the voice. Won't be long until you join him and all my other friends. I saw him walking towards me, flickering in and out of several directions. You can't run now. You're in my world now, just like the others. When he grabbed me and I saw his bleeding black and red eyes, grinning face, I woke up in a fright. After a couple of hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to figure out what was happening so I could turn on the computer, turn on the game, and selected Robotnik next. I still thought that was wacky, playing as Robotnik, but again, the level title appeared again, and this time it said nothing. It said dots, which I found really freaky. Okay, so, wow. Is there a reason why you wanted me to read this, dude? Okay, so a couple of things. I'm not even a Sonic fan. I was very disappointed in this, I'm not gonna lie. I can definitely say that, you know, other creepypastas like, you know, Ghost Black and all of them, much better. The worst part of it had to be, though, was looking farther down. Right near the end, where I took that huge break, just like your friend. Would you believe me if I actually told you that the writing had the main characters, the person who was reading this, Tom, it says just like your friend Tom. But the main character's name is Tom. So it's supposed to be Kyle. Okay. No, it really wasn't. No. Sorry. It really wasn't good. I mean, even if I, like, put Lavender Town reversed in background, like I probably will, because, you know, or maybe I'll just keep it quiet to make things sound a little better, but still, oh man, I wasn't even good, you know? First of all, Sonic Unleashed sucked really hard. It really sucked. I didn't even play it, and I know it sucked. I know like the first 3 levels where you play as normal Sonic was actually pretty fun, and then all of a sudden it's like you're a werehog or whatever, and which doesn't even make any sense because were means man, and so man hog. Anyway, so back to the point. Yeah, this wasn't good. I'm sorry. If you thought it was good, that's I mean that's your opinion and all that, and there's nothing wrong with your opinion. But God, that was how was that terrifying? It really wasn't. I realized that it wasn't a glitchy game; it was a hacked game. And then later on, it's like, oh, I don't know if it was a glitchy or a hack or a sick joke, which would be a hack. And Kefka's laugh, even if it was distorted, is not creepy. And it doesn't really help. It would be a lot better if it was like what Ghost Black did with the DSi story, where it had the music playing and, you know, it had pictures. This is just a wall of text. It's not even good. I mean, uh, Tails Doll's scarier than this. Tails Doll is creepy. I admit it. Tails Doll is at least creepier than this. This is eh, meh. I can't help but take it. I can't take this seriously or find it terrifying at all because it keeps referencing Kefka, and I rather like Kefka. Thank you very much. I think he's a very wonderful fellow, burning people alive, setting houses on fire, going through towns and with tanks and that can shoot magic just because he wants a little frozen crystal. You know, that has an alien in it, but shut up. I don't think he's a terrible villain, or I don't find him horrifying at all. I think he's an amazing villain. He isn't terrifying, he's evil. He's not, like, creepy, except for when he kills Leo. That seems a little creepy, but meh, whatever. Not really creepy, just like, oh wow, when you're playing it as a kid. What makes it even worse is that if you haven't played half the game, I mean, instead of he references what the songs were like, and if you've never played that game, like if you've never played Silent Hill 1, if you haven't played Earthbound, then this just throws you off even more because you're like, what? And then yeah, it's kind of cliche. Goes insane by playing a game. How do you go insane from that? I mean, honestly, I would not go insane from that. If this was realistic and I actually was playing this, I would not go to bed right afterwards, and I would definitely not be going insane by it. I mean, come on. You must have a really, really low mental breaking point if you can be terrified by this. If you were playing this and you literally went, loopy. No, I'm sorry, I don't find Sonic terrifying. Oh god, he was flying! Except Metal Sonic totally does that all the time, and it's totally not terrifying at all, but he's flying! And his eyes are black and red, and he has an evil grin on him. Evil grin, and it's like, whatever. At least Black Ghost was more terrifying because you weren't really sure what Black Ghost was, and even if it wasn't terrifying, it made you feel this sense of, dread, and it made you question, and made you feel bad, and especially if you played if you were playing the actual hacked version, and then at the very end, with the whole title sequence of everyone you killed, you know, it gives you that feeling of horror, like, oh my god, I can't believe I did this, you know, instead of just, you're not really so much, you are afraid of what's going to happen because you don't know what's going to happen, but at the same time, it's like Ben from Majora's Mask. Ben from Majora's Mask was an awesome creepypasta. It really was, because it just, unknown. You don't know what's happening. It's like Lost Silver Pokemon creepypasta. You don't know what's going on. I mean, if you have control of the character like you do now. See, I'm just curious, what would have happened if you just turned around and ran the other way? Like, if you ran towards Sonic. What the I mean, it'd be funny, honestly, I think. I mean, personal opinion. And, yeah. So, I am surprised I actually read the entire thing, because at one point I was like, do I really have to? Like, for example, the line, so many souls to play with so little time, would you agree? The fuck? The fuck? I mean, eh? The line doesn't even fit. I mean, he just killed, essentially, even though it doesn't look like he killed them. It looks like he just tainted them. Maybe Discord helped him out. Uh, you know, made their go grayish, and their eyes were like him and bloody, but didn't really. The fuck? The two people? Three people, if you're wanting to count, what the hell is his name? Also, Tom. What kind of a name is that? I mean, if you're writing a story, your main character's name is Tom? I mean, that's it? Just Tom and Kyle. Tom and Kyle. Only two original characters, Tom and Kyle. Not much effort was put into that, was it? I mean, honestly, especially if a horror story, I mean, if it's like a romance story, you kind of want to have the main character have a name. But if it's a horror story, generally trying to avoid names is a good thing, because then it allows you to actually get more into the story. Like, my name's not Tom. I don't have a best friend named Kyle. So then it kind of, all that gives you the distinction. Okay, this isn't like it's supposed to be happening to me. This is to somebody else. And for a lot of people in the world, that kind of just like, who cares? And for other people, it's like, okay, if you're going to make them completely different characters, you kind of have to, if you're going to give them a name, you also have to give them character. And the only thing I can tell about Tom is that he's a pussy. He's a pussy. He should have turned around and fought. He should have turned around his tails and just like, jump over him. I don't fucking care. And hearing the line, "You're too slow." Okay, ways that could have been maybe a little bit more creepier is if they shortened the amount of words, because like they said entire like Sonic, for example, said entire sentences. So many souls to play with, so little time. Would you agree? If you just said so many souls to play with, it would have been a lot more ominous, in my opinion. At least for me. I don't know about you. And also how he points out how many seconds pass between each blackout really doesn't help. Also, I mean, every time the title saying you can't run. I also thought that something that was really unnecessary, or not unnecessary, but it was really just pointless. The Sega 666, that was like, whatever. And who cares? You play Dr. Robotnik. Whoop de fucking do. You can play it in Sonic Adventure 2, which he talks about in the entire fucking story. He's like, Sonic Adventure 2, yeah, and then it just ends abruptly. It's like, I still thought that was wacky, playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the title level appeared again, and this time it said ... which isn't actually saying anything, which I found really freaky. All it had was ... or all, and this time it said ... just kind of throws it off, and... So I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap, which I hadn't. Take a break, take a nap, which I hadn't. Also, just C-U-Z, I then began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in pitch black darkness, because you always are, though I was under the light giving off by a lamp that hung high above my head, which, you're not in pitch black darkness then. And I could see Tails saying stuff like, help us and why did you give us to him, but I can't see Knuckles saying that. Because I did play Sonic Adventure. I did play Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, and so I do have some idea of their characters, and I know that Knuckles turned into basically a rapper for some reason. Anyway, so this is Sonic.exe. Like I said, very, very disappointed. I expected a lot more, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, so if you guys like the video, then by all means, comment and give it a thumbs up, or subscribe, or do anything. Honestly, you don't have to, but it's nice to know that if you actually enjoyed it or not. If you didn't enjoy it, that's understandable. I mean, this video kind of isn't that good, because, oh man, it's not that good. Anyway, so by all means, if you have any suggestions for what I could do next, like another fanfiction or another creepypasta, or if you want to see a video game being played, because I do challenge plays too, where I play a game with a specific challenge in mind. So, like I said, comment if you have any ideas, or if you like the video, or if you don't like the video. I'm Axelsims, and I will see you next time.